Hello everyone, Lachlan here. So I figured I'd do a quick video tonight because it's like the 12 in it's just midnight over here in Australia. I figured I'd just do a quick video um I figured I'd just do sorry, introduction, so not really coming to mind. Fanfiction. I figured I'd start doing a series about get onto that series I think I talked about a couple of times. With some lessons by fanfiction or just fanfiction in general. Because I'm currently writing up sort of like ideas and to be me typing away. That's me writing the ideas. Also, any ideas that I talk about in this video, feel free to use it if you want to. Just put it in the comment section. Hey, I like this idea. It's okay if I use it. I'll okay it. Maybe even give a quick explanation about what the idea is, or what the divergence of the original idea is. And yeah, I'll okay it or I won't. Almost like in 99% of the time, go, okay, yeah, that's okay. Figured I'd just say that. Because I kind of find myself sort of, you think of an idea, it's sort of like, so some YouTubers or some content creators, so like they have a really good idea, or you create the basis of an idea, but you never really get around to writing it. Some folk, with like, on some fanfictions, like, they'll, private messaging and such, you can tell someone, yeah, hey, I'm going to be, not doing this series anymore, if you want to adopt it, you can. Like, you upload a chapter saying, I'm going to be abandoning the series, yada, yada, yada. And, people, they have, in the past, people have abandoned the series because they don't really like how it's going right now, or they find themselves in a situation where they, you already you might need to rewrite something, or redo something. We find yourself sort of finding yourself stuck in you've written yourself into a corner. So you go back, redo, and so you just start from scratch. You start from the base, and you go back, and you go start all the way back at the prologue, and change stuff. As some folk there, they do that, then they get stuck in the second attempt, and they might do a third, or they might have someone come in and be, a beta reader, or someone who reads the work before they publish it. I don't know if I'm going to be doing that. I'm most likely not. I'll most likely just publish it as I finish it. Going to be doing it also in a Word document instead of some of the other ways. Also doing this on a separate computer from what I normally record, or on my other computer, my main computer, because I'm sort of separating my older computer as sort of like a writing computer, and having the gaming computer be a separate thing. And yeah, sort of creating that separation between two computers. And yeah, this is sort of as I may have said before, it's still like an introduction to that type of thing. I will be uploading videos as I create the story, and sort of give, if anyone connects my fanfiction channel, but still my writing account, and sort of connects my YouTube channel to it, people might be able to create a connection with how I talk and write. Maybe, I don't know. And if anyone does find a connection between the YouTube content and the fanfiction content, okay. Now whether or not I know the only time that I'll actually be, when I do finally upload the fanfiction, I'll most likely create a video announcing it, and then linking my fanfiction account, page, and the fanfiction itself, because I've already done this once with another story that actually I quite enjoyed. Although I do acknowledge problems with the said story, mostly with it being with the story that's coming to mind, sort of becoming like a textbook more when you go. I usually do a sort of fanfiction where the fanfiction itself sort of starts off like the normal story, like a fanfic, and what you would normally consider a story, but then halfway through or more or before, it becomes what you would call like a historical textbook, or a historical recount. What comes to mind? Sorry, pop up. What comes to mind is sort of like Fire and Blood, for Song of Ice and Fire, being a historical perspective of the events taking place. A historical recollection by individuals who have lived past the events that have occurred, or that sort of thing, where world building sort of happens, where you sort of go, this is the historical retelling of an event that happened, not the historical event itself. That sort of thing leaves the audience being able to interpret the events that happened in the story, and if even the events that we're being told is even the truth, or if we're getting an unreliable narrator scenario. Now, how some stories execute the unreliable narrator can be done for good or ill. If we have the perspective of someone who's considered mentally ill, the likelihood of the perspective being correct is less likely than if we have a mentally stable person telling the story. Of course, some individuals must have this be tagged for them. With AO3, you have the ability to specifically tag certain things. On fanfiction.net, you don't. So you more or less have the freedom to have twists that people don't know about. Now, of course, when you get to those twists, reviews. Be prepared for people to spoil. Don't even bother telling people, don't spoil. Don't bother with that. People are going to spoil harder. That's my personal perspective. And generally I find with a lot of fanfiction that some authors get very, dare I say, sensitive with their work, where they become very defensive or very focused on their work to a point where it might actually damage the quality of it. Now, anything I create is going to be of a 5 to a 6 out of quality out of 10. I acknowledge that, and I will most likely improve. I hope. The only way I will improve is if I have people to criticize me, if I have people to speak honestly. I don't want people to be, oh, your work's amazing, with giving no evidence to why they say that. Oh, your work is terrible, but give no evidence as to why. If you dislike my work, either log off and either just don't watch it, don't read it. It's fanfiction. Feel free to do what you wish to do. Don't waste your time. But I do understand why some people do, quote, waste their time with some pieces of work. They get involved into a story, they get connected to a story, but they see it going down a path they dislike, so they then follow it to see how it ends. Kind of like a train wreck. You can't take your eyes off it, unfortunately, or a car crash or sort of a horrible event where the end result is going to be tragedy, but for some reason you find yourself being unable to look away. That's understandable. Well, some fan fiction is sort of like, halfway through you get a bunch of crazy stuff in it, or highly politicized content where it doesn't really fit. Now, of course, if you write, say, a Fallout and Song of Ice and Fire crossover, there's going to be elements of politics. Now, of course, how those politics are explored is what differentiates, dare I say, a novice to an expert. If someone can take the perspective of someone from the internal universe and apply internally consistent political viewpoints, I would say that someone who has either experience or is willing to take the perspective of the environment and sort of disconnect their personal viewpoints from the characters. Some people fail at this, some people are successful at this. I do not know what category I am with that. I'll have to see. I'm using Fallout as an example due to the content in the Fallout games. Some parts of there's mostly the Bethesda games, less so with older games and New Vegas. But some parts of the Bethesda games, it's sort of like you get a character having a interpretation of the old world in the Fallout universe, the post-war pre-war interpretation of the pre-war world through a post-war lens being then incorrect due to the character having a post-war lens on a pre-war subject. Whatever that means, individuals, I guess you said the best translation of that is individuals perceiving something incorrectly to our perspective, because we have what we call meta-knowledge. Compared to someone who does not have said meta-knowledge and instead has a limited and biased viewpoint. Some individuals cannot disconnect their viewpoint from an internal world viewpoint. That's sort of a general criticism that I kind of find myself thinking nowadays. Of individuals being unable to disconnect parts of our current viewpoints with another world, a fictional world. If something is set in a medieval-like world, like A Song of Ice and Fire, large amount of the morality in A Song of Ice and Fire is entirely the opposite of our own. Yes, we have certain basic tenets that are more or less like ours, but that's only to a limited degree. Sorry, I was talking as I was slouching a bit. The differences between our world and a medieval-like world can be interesting to explore, and we can explore that with the sort of genre that's got like only a tiny handful of fanfictions, or what I would call gate fanfictions or portal fanfictions. Basically, a portal opens up between our world and a different world. For good or ill, mostly ill, I think. Some good. But one fanfiction that comes to mind is A Song of Guns, Germs, and Steel. I think it's the fanfiction name. Let me quickly see that, if that's the correct title. I think this one has a TV trope show. Yeah, TV trope page. Yes, A Song of Guns, Germs, and Steel. It is. It's alright. It has issues. I'll be honest. It's not god awful, at least. No, I'm just quickly looking at the Reddit. Anyway, the story's like 2 years old, so I feel really old remembering it because I remember reading it when the first chapter was constantly getting updates. It's not a bad fanfiction personally. It does have issues. Yeah, some of the decisions in the story are illogical, maybe not the best decisions. But that's sort of the thing with fanfiction. Yeah, people can go over fine, like they get deep into the sort of decision making, and they get really hypercritical, which can be a problem, especially if your story isn't being trying to be hyper realistic or realistic in a sense. They're like mostly realistic sort of scenario. But some fanfiction, some parts of the audience can become hyper focused on being correct, quote unquote. They view it through a certain lens. A lot of the time. Some view it through a political lens, some view it through an apolitical lens. Unfortunately, some people can, of course, shove politics where they aren't wanted or needed. But then again, having a portal open between A Song of Ice and Fire world and our own world, yeah, politics will come up sooner or later, so you're bringing that on yourself. And normally it also becomes clear what someone's political viewpoints are. It depends on what they write, is what I'm trying to say. If someone writes a pro-fascist fanfiction, it doesn't stay up online for long, okay? There is a bias for long online websites. If someone wrote a communist one, well, you've already got evidence of that. Anyway, moving on from controversial political viewpoints being suppressed and other controversial political viewpoints not being suppressed, for now. Yes, I'm a bit of a cynic when it comes to political online content. You do see times of suppression and times of, as I've said in another video, hard and soft censorship. If you've seen that video, I don't think it was the best explained video I've had, but that video was more just sort of an idea I had. regarding with another related to another YouTuber who is suffering a lot of censorship in my personal viewpoint. Well, he was actually being upfront with the fact that yeah, he was suffering a lot of censorship due to his political viewpoint. Anyway, I'm going to be ending the video here. You all have a great day. Subscribe for more if you enjoyed the video, and yeah, have a great one.